This podcast is intended for informational purposes only and should not replace professional mental health care. If you are in crisis, please contact your local emergency number or the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 988. Welcome back to Hello Human, your resource for grounded guidance and staying connected with yourself and each other in this increasingly digital world. I am Dr. Joy.
And I'm Aaron Jones, LMFT.
And today we are talking about the algorithm versus your intuition. Who's really in charge?
That sounds like a really deep topic.
We got to talk about it.
Episode 2, out the gate swinging.
We got to do it.
Got to do it.
But before we get to swinging on episode 2, we got to check in with each other, right?
Absolutely. So this is our first segment of every show, the temperature check.
That's right.
Reason why we do a temperature check, folks, is oftentimes we get going in our own personal agenda all the time without giving a second thought to checking in with the people that are most important to us.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
And right here today, Dr. Joy, you're super important to me.
So important.
You are so important to me.
You.
I couldn't do this without you.
That's literally.
And I know. Couldn't do this without you, right? So thank you, Dr. Joy, for being here today. And about your temperature check, let me think. Oh, yeah, I got one. On a scale of you took the chicken out in the morning when your mama asked you.
Okay.
To I hear the keys jangling in the door and I haven't taken the chicken out at all. She's home.
Oh,
and the chicken's still frozen.
Ooh.
How have you been feeling this week? That was a good.
I instantly felt the anxiety of she's home and I forgot.
Oh man!
And what I would say about how I am feeling right now is I took it out a couple of hours ago.
Ooh, okay.
So it was like, I almost forgot.
Okay, running right up to
the
edge.
But I got it just in time.
So mama probably ain't gonna know today.
And it's gonna be thought enough.
It's
gonna be thought enough.
Might be a little frozen in the
she gonna get in the house. She gonna get her house coat on. She gonna, by the time she get in the kitchen to actually cook.
House coat. Oh, nice. Your mama got house coats. That's what's up. Fancy.
But by the time she gets in the kitchen, settled in, ready to cook, the chicken gonna be thawed.
Got it.
So I diverted. I almost had a disaster.
Almost had a disaster this week.
But we were able to divert and we were good.
Good. I'm so happy to hear that. Because the stress.
When
you hungry.
Listen.
Mama been at work all day.
And I told you to take the chicken
and you were told to take it out.
Okay. Well, where are you?
You know what, y'all? This week, I took the chicken out early.
Oh, hey!
Yeah, I took the chicken out early this week, y'all.
Love that.
After coming off of the high of having our first episode last week, this week feels really good. I'm feeling more confident, right? I'm feeling real good in this process. I'm settling in. The people have been kind people out there. Thank you so much for welcoming me in.
I love that.
Appreciate that. And you know what? This week, I kind of been on top of it. I mean, I haven't been killing it per se. But you know what? I'm getting better all the time. And this week has been pretty good.
I love that.
So I'm going to give myself a little credit.
I love that.
And I'm going to say, this week, I took the chicken out early. Right? So got a little bit of a head.
We eating good tonight, y'all.
We doing good. We are eating good. This episode is good nourishment. We are eating good.
Okay, so now that we are checked in and we know how we feel, let's talk a little bit about how this episode feels. And, as I said, it's important to be able to understand and make sense of what we feel. Sometimes we have an emotional experience and it can take us on a ride and we're like, what is going on? We find ourselves just feeling a little off.
Yes.
And so being able to name and label what you feel is an incredibly empowering tool.
It's so important.
And
so important.
We don't always have language. There's lots of words, lots of emotion words are out there, right? And sometimes those words make sense and they work, they describe accurately what we're feeling, and sometimes they don't. And so in this segment, what I'm doing is I'm taking the liberty of developing my own language.
A lot of liberty, Dr. Joy.
We are going
liberties,
to create our own language around describing how we feel. And today's word,
oh boy,
is
oh boy,
algo rupture.
Algo
What
rupture.
is
Algo
what does that mean to you? What is the algo rupture? What does that mean to you?
Did you say rupture or rapture?
Algo rapture.
Algo rapture.
Yes.
Wow. That's even more tough than rupture. That's how I heard it. I was my mind's trying to take the easy path.
I might have said rupture, but I meant rapture. The
Dr.
algo
Joyce
rapture.
said no easy path today. Algo rapture.
Boy. What does that mean to you? Just take a guess.
You know what? What comes up for me is my ability to maybe disconnect or maybe understand that if I'm thinking about some online space, right? And of those, there are several, right?
There are so many.
And I'm really locked in to something. Like I'm locked into a news cycle or segment. You know, it's a lot of doom and gloom out there these days, and I'm locked into that. That makes me wonder, at what point can I pull away? How can I pull away from it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's, that's kind of what's coming up for me. And the word rapture for me is telling me that there needs to be a definite end for something.
Okay.
Right.
I'm not mad at that.
A definite end.
You're pretty good. You're pretty good.
Yeah. Was that good?
You're pretty close.
Okay.
Right? You're pretty close.
I'm close.
So here is the definition that I came up with.
Okay, let's hear it.
Reclaiming your agency when you realize that your thoughts and your choices and your behaviors have been subtly but significantly influenced by the algorithm. We've all experienced that moment where you were having a conversation with a friend, you're talking about a thing, and then you open your phone, you're scrolling your timeline, and there goes an ad for the very thing you were just talking about. And you're like, now wait a minute.
It's like it's listening to me.
Are you spying or not?
Are you in my brain?
Siri, are you listening?
Right.
Like, what's going on?
I feel that almost every day when I'm searching for something. Isn't it funny how that happens?
It's nuts. And so we understand
they planned it.
We understand that these websites, and having built my own websites, right? Like I've had several businesses and I didn't always have the budget to hire somebody. So I have garnered a lot of skills along the way. And one of those skills I used to build. Yeah, I was starting to build my own websites. Thankfully, there's all these platforms out there that give you templates, etc. So in doing that, one of those things is they'll ask you if you want to be able to sort of like, if somebody visits your site and then they leave your site, do you want to be able to capture them on the next site that they go to and remind them to come back to your page, right? So if you came to my website and then you get off my website and then you log onto your social media platform, are you going to see an ad about my business on that platform because it's tracing your activity on whatever device you're using, and it's reminding you kind of where you've been. Same thing like when you open your search bar and something you looked at a long time ago, it will pop back up again. It will automatically populate because it remembers that you've already searched this thing, and maybe you're looking for this again. And so let me make it easier for you. And so we understand that we're constantly interacting with these algorithms that are meant to make our online experience more seamless and more convenient and, feel more personalized. Like, this is something I know you're interested in.
Yeah, but that personalization bit, I got to take at least a half a step back because there's a fine line between personalizing and something that's feeling like intrusive.
Like a violation.
Yeah, kind of.
Fair, yeah.
Because sometimes these AI tools, it really does make it feel like they're in your mind.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And that's probably part of it. That's probably part of the process. So I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always feel immediately helpful. Yeah. I notice when that happens for me sometimes the first thing that comes up is kind of a skepticism about it, right? Yeah. So if it is coming up and it's feed me, at a certain point, if I don't want that kind of content to continue to show up in my feed, it almost seems impossible to then get rid of it.
Yeah.
So to me, that's kind of tricky because there are lots of things in the world that I'm curious about. But once I sate my curiosity, I don't necessarily need to be reintroduced to that
and inundated with all kinds of other content and creators who talk about it and businesses who promote it. And it just becomes too much, right?
It can become too much. So over time, my algorithm that started off pretty basic, pretty wide, open, pretty pure, if you will. Now it feels like someone else's algorithm, right? And maybe I'm not as into these things as much as, this particular platform says that I am.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's just some questions that I have, about that.
Yeah. And I think we've all experienced it. So again, the word of today is the algo rapture. So think about how that feels for you. Tell us in the comments, or maybe there's a different word that you would use to describe that feeling. Share that in the comments as well. We are building our shared language around how to describe what it feels like to live in these digital times. We keep talking about how these are unprecedented times and we've never experienced things like this before. But that means if we've not experienced it, we get to develop new tools to help us communicate about it, to understand it. And part of that is language, right? Part of that is language.
Dr. Joy, you are so optimistic. I really appreciate that. Listen, y'all, it's hard to be optimistic. I don't think that I am naturally.
Oh, okay.
By the way. I don't know if I'm a pessimist. You know what? Let me tell the truth.
Okay.
Listen, y'all. I'm pessimistic.
Oh.
Okay. Well, I just like to, hold off on the excitement, try to, still myself in case something doesn't happen. But you know what I'm learning? Especially being connected to you, that doesn't seem like a way to live, right?
Oh.
I appreciate your optimism. I really do. I really do.
Well, I appreciate that you're calling it optimism. For me, it's really like I'm trying to make sense of it all, right? Okay. And as somebody who does consider myself, I too am very curious. And part of my curiosity is often around, sometimes it's just like random facts and things, but a lot of times it's often around like the origin of things and where that comes from and how it came to be and why it's like this. And maybe that made sense at that time, right? Maybe that language and maybe those tools, resources, and that framework made sense at the time that it was developed and in the context that it was developed in. But we're living in a new context now and things are vastly different. Even from when I was growing up, I always say like I grew up in an analog world and then I inherited a digital world, right?
I love that.
And it changed so quickly. And so there are things even that I learned or that we learned growing up that are just not relevant anymore. They just don't apply and they have become obsolete. And I think unless we're being intentional and conscious about how we replace those things, then we leave gaps in our lives. And language is so important as a tool to help us stay grounded, both again with ourselves and with each other, that if we don't develop the language that helps us describe what we're in, then we will feel lost and disempowered for how to navigate and what to do. And if we need to get out, we won't have a path out because we won't even know like how to talk about where we are, right?
Absolutely. It's like when I'm working with young people and I talk to them about naming it to tame it.
Name it to tame it.
Name it to
That's
tame
one of my favorite. I use that all the time.
Yeah, you got to. It's a staple.
Yeah.
I mean, I really do think it's important.
Absolutely.
Because unless I'm grounded and rooted in what's going on with me, am I present in my life, am I present in my body, am I present in this moment, it makes it really difficult to be responsive to things.
Yeah.
Right? And I think what happens, especially when we let these AI tools just kind of run amok and we unchecked and we're not very mindfully or intentionally engaging with them, you can kind of feel a little bit like a runaway train, right? And then once that train leaves the station, it's very difficult, if not impossible, right, to pull that back.
Come back, please.
Not in the digital age.
That's you know
not
what I mean? Down.
Not in the
train
digital
is
age.
Not coming back.
It's gone.
It's gone.
So many people out there that are, and even myself to some degree, who are reluctant to adopt these new AI tools or these new strategies. Listen, folks, we got to kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think we're going to get a little bit left behind.
And so that was what we were just talking about in the first episode, right? Determining as we are introduced to these new tools and resources and skills and all the things that are coming our way, when we think about what does it mean to figure it out, how are we determining what that even looks like? So we talked before about sort of our values, right? But you mentioned something just a few moments ago that I also use in my practice that I think would be really valuable to share a little bit more insight about this practice of name it to tame it. So if you were to walk somebody through it just briefly, what that even means and how they do it, what would you say to them?
That's a really, really good question. So we'll have a kind of an accordion approach to this. I'm going to expand out a little bit, then we're going to shrink it back down.
Okay.
Okay. So in the context of that specifically, okay, one of the things that I think is important to get folks to understand is that when we're talking about emotions, for example, let's take a very easy one, like anger.
Yep.
Okay. Anger's super easy. We all are familiar with
know what
that.
it feels like.
But anger,
maybe.
Well, okay, that might be true.
Right, maybe.
I will say most people probably understand.
Yeah, if you take a moment to sit with it when it shows up, you will
Right.
probably be able to recognize that that's what it
Right.
is. But it does require a level of like, but sometimes anger can cause us to react so quickly that we just move straight from emotion to action.
Exactly.
So sitting with what does it look like? So yeah, so I just wanted to name that. We don't want to assume
exactly my point
that not everyone knows,
that's
right?
True. We don't want to assume that.
Right.
That's
so,
true.
but anger, for instance, might show up as
Maybe
all kinds of
a meta emotion.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by meta is like anger is a big emotion.
Sure.
That's made up of a bunch of little pieces.
Yep.
Right? So before I am angry, right? Am I agitated? Am I irritated? Am I frustrated? Am I annoyed? And then all of a sudden,
am I afraid? Do I feel disrespected?
Absolutely.
Right? All of those
because
things.
anger can be triggered and maintained by lots of other feelings that are happening in the present moment.
Absolutely.
So rather than just relying only on I'm angry or I'm mad, right? Developing a wider emotional language, right? A wider database for that stuff. Then I can say, well, maybe I'm not angry after I'm sitting with it. Maybe I'm just annoyed or agitated, right? But because I didn't have the language to really break that down, anger is how I describe my circumstance, and then my emotions follow that.
Yeah.
So if my emotions are heightened,
Sure.
right? But I have language to maybe describe some of those middle stages, then I have a better understanding of how I am really showing up. I don't have to default to angry.
Right.
But if I am annoyed,
Sure.
I can maybe have language and talk about being annoyed before I become angry.
Yes.
Because at the point that I'm angry, I can't be as responsive as I might be when I'm way down here at being annoyed.
And why that's important, and specifically, so we're talking about the name it part, but then there's the tame it part, because now that I have named it and I am annoyed, now that gives me a little bit more clarity about what is the thing I need to communicate? If there are other people involved, right? Or if there's if my choice after this is going to influence or impact other people, how do I want to go about that, right? So when I name it, it gives me space to then appropriately decide how to respond to it, and that's really where the empowerment comes in. Because even just the pausing to step back and say, what is this that I'm feeling? Why is my chest tightening up? Why am I pulling my fist?
Absolutely.
Why am I breathing faster?
Absolutely.
Why do I feel warm? Why am I starting to sweat?
Why am I sweating?
Yeah,
right.
like what's
That's
going on, right?
I start sweating.
Yeah,
right?
like what is that? And when you take that moment and then you name the thing, that gives you a pathway forward for how to respond to that in a way that's going to be much more in alignment with who you are and what you want to accomplish in that given moment, right? So this is why that name it to tame it exercises is so powerful, and why I think we both use it in our own lives, especially with our clients as well.
Nearly every day. And that's not an exaggeration. Like
multiple times, because you're feeling so much, because going back to this conversation about the algorithm and things popping up and telling you what to buy and how to believe and what to think and all these, these sort of dominant narratives across social media platforms about relationships and just all the things that come up. You constantly, even just news updates, things that are happening politically and socially. Like, there's so much that we encounter on the internet in our digital lives that evoke so many emotions, and having the space and the tools to name those things so that you can decide how you want to respond is incredibly powerful. And a lot of times the algorithm is using the content that we consume and the things that are coming up to evoke emotions. That's what marketing is about. Right. Evoking an emotion that's going to move you into action. So we want you to feel excited. We want you to feel angry. We want you to feel sad. We want you to feel like you're missing out. We want you to feel these things, because when you feel this, you're inclined to act on it. And the power that we want to put back in your hands and the agency that we want to put back in your hands through these reflections and through these conversations is that you are aware of what you're feeling. Not that the feelings themselves are bad, and not that the companies that are selling you products are wrong, but that you still ultimately have the choice to make about how you respond to how you feel, which begins with being attuned to it. Do I even recognize, like, for instance, I was in New York traveling and we did a bunch of shopping because this is what you do in New York.
This is what Joy does.
This is what you do when you buy things. And it was right before Fashion Week.
Dr. Joy's a globe trotter, y'all. Y'all
right
gonna learn this about her.
Week.
She's all over the place, okay?
Things were happening. So I was buying things. And the point that is there was a sale.
Okay.
And the sale was the sale was doing what it needs to do. Okay.
I understand. Getting caught up in the moment.
There was a particular garment that was not available in the store that I was like, "Ooh, I should just get it online." Right. And they had it online. You do the things. And I put it in the cart for a second and I said, now, am I buying this because I'm in the energy of being excited? I'm in New York and you want the thing,
or
do I really need? Like, do I really? What's really going on? So I want to talk a little bit about, because I think we all are influenced. I don't think any of us can escape the influence of the algorithm that it is with us, and so I want to talk a little bit about what are some of the ways that sort of, first of all, with the algorithmic influence finds its way into our lives, because I think
the algorithmic
knowing that
influence,
the algorithmic influence.
So just let's slow this down just a little bit.
Okay,
give the people a little time to catch up. The algorithmic influence.
Yes.
You know what? Let's unpack that a little.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the algorithmic influence is essentially that. The ads that you see, the content that you see, the things, we've all been on YouTube and then it tries to suggest to you the next video you should watch. And it's all based on your past history and this sort of profile that it has created of you to try to understand who you are, what you like, and then nudge you in the direction of, in their minds, right? And the mind of the algorithm, if it has one, is that it is exposing you to things that you might have already been interested in, but didn't just know about. And I'm just putting you up on game.
The algorithm is just trying to
you up on game.
I'm just trying to help you out.
Right. But what it does
is, you looking at those scarves, and now you need an Hermes scarf,
and now you need the $9,000 one.
Okay,
of course you do, because it's silk.
Is that how it works?
And so this is what it is.
Ooh, that's some expensive silk.
Yeah, and so understanding that that's what is happening, and if this is about really reclaiming our agency, I think that, again, the way my brain works is I like to understand where it came from, how it's happening, because then that helps me to think about where are my opportunities to interrupt a cycle that is not helpful for me. If I don't want to keep doing, if I don't want to keep doing impulsive things, or if I don't want to keep consuming content that I don't feel good afterwards, but they keep showing it to me and I feel sucked in, because regardless of whether or not I like the feeling, it is a feeling, and part of our humanity is our emotional experience. And so that sort of awareness and that empowerment to say, like, I see something happening, right? I feel like I'm down the slippery slope of the algorithmic influence. I need to understand what has happened that got me here so that I can begin to interrupt the cycle moving forward and make choices that are more informed by my conscious and intentional desires versus the sort of thing that I'm being fed subconsciously that may or may not align with what I actually want.
You know what? That is really, really interesting. So when you say it like that, something that comes up for me is I follow a lot of fitness influencers, for example.
Okay.
Right? Like, I like to work out. I like to find different ways to work out, right? Things that really keep my mind engaged.
Yep.
But what I am noticing, and what I have noticed in the algorithm, is the exercises that I'm looking for is kind of like one part of that, right? And then the next thing that seems to follow up is now I'm seeing people that are more well-built and, have this sort of particular aesthetic, or they look a kind of way, or they speak a kind of way, or they are, promoting a particular brand of products, right? So I opened the door to try to figure out some new exercises, and that's all I really
And now they're selling you products and fitness clothes and pills and pre-workout and protein shakes.
All of that.
All the things.
That. And it very quickly becomes overwhelming because now this whole thing has hijacked my curiosity.
That's right.
And I've lost that curiosity now.
Right.
Now it's no longer mine. They've taken it from me. And essentially using it to sell something. Sell products, but most importantly, is constantly selling a lifestyle.
Ideas. That's right.
Idea, yeah.
And then you're feeling like you have to try to fit into that idea. If I'm healthy, I have to take pre-workout. If I'm serious about it, right?
Because no shucking and jiving, working out 2 days a week.
Exactly.
I got to work out 4 days a week because the algorithm tells me so.
That if this is your goal and you want to achieve this, then you got to do it like that. I want to be
shredded in 90 days, right? I see so many advertisements for stuff like that. And listen, like we said before, I like to eat. I ain't going to be shredded in 90 days. I might eat a bag of shredded cheese 4 or 5 times in 90 days, but I'm not going to be shredded in 90 days. Despite my best effort.
And it's that reality check of like, but I know me, I know what this is, and I'm not even about to play these reindeer games, but you selling me this idea.
Exactly,
so let's talk a little bit about what are some of the things that are the part of the slippery slope, and then I want to talk about what are some ways that we can sort of tap into that inner compass.
Okay,
so one of the things you mentioned was something I've noticed actually is that we have outsourced inquiry. You spoke about being curious. We both spoke about being very curious people. We have outsourced inquiry, right? What I mean by that is we don't wonder anymore. As soon as I'm like asking a question, somebody's got their phone out, they're Googling the answer. Oh, I want.
You didn't even give me time
what year did such and such song come out? They're like, oh, and I'm like, we could have sat here and gone, well, I was in 8th grade, so that probably would have been around this time. I remember when I was at the party, I was wearing this, so that was around this. We don't do that anymore. We're just like, what year did such and such song come out? And they're like, oh, the Google says came out in, and it's like we've outsourced our inquiry. We don't sit with questions anymore.
Dr. Joy, that is brilliant.
We don't do it, right?
I didn't think about it that way.
We don't do it. You also mentioned the consumption. I'm looking for a specific thing, right? I'm looking for a specific new exercise. Maybe I'm trying to get my hips be tight. I got tight hips.
Yeah,
that's a different conversation.
Tall people.
But maybe I'm looking for some hip openers. And in that, as I'm consuming the content related, maybe I'm following yoga instructors, things like that. Right. What happens is then that if I'm consuming more than I'm creating, it creates critique. And you mentioned that, right? If I'm consuming more than I'm creating, it leads to critique. You mentioned, I'm just looking for this. And now you're showing me the shredded guy, and now I'm comparing myself to him and thinking I'm not doing enough.
And feeling sad about eating my shredded cheese.
Listen, and so when we consume too much, so when we outsource our inquiry, when we consume too much, another thing is when we place virality over values. Right? So there's a big viral video going out and they're talking about this, and they said that if you're going to date, you got to show up like this and don't let the person do that and there's all this. And so you're like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And it's like, what do you value when you're looking for a partner versus the viral video that's saying, don't let him take you to Cheesecake Factory or whatever the thing is that they're saying.
I love Cheesecake Factory.
And if
anybody want to take me to Cheesecake Factory, take me to Cheesecake Factory. I love it. I'm not going to front. I love it.
But so I'm just saying, like, these are some of the things that sort of contribute to the algorithmic influence that cause us to feel like we no longer have agency over our choices because we're outsourcing our inquiry, we're consuming more than we're creating, we're choosing virality over our values. And sometimes we just over rely on convenience, right? Like we are looking to influencers over intuition.
Yes, over reliance on
over reliance. So
I think that's important. Though.
Yeah,
just to slow it down just a little bit. Listen, folks, it's not a problem that we're accessing these resources, that we want to
Right.
participate in the digital world. And many of us have lives and jobs and relationships and things that force us, hobbies that force us to be there.
To be present in these spaces.
And we want to be. Right?
Absolutely.
Like, I
There's
want
so much
to
good that comes.
participate in those
Absolutely.
spaces and doing those things. But with anything, it is the over-reliance or the overindulgence in it.
Yep.
And I really didn't think about that before, about the conversation that you mentioned just earlier around Googling things. And what is really lost there is such a beautiful moment of connection that I could have gotten to know more about Dr. Joy's family or how you grew up or
any of that.
You know,
or just reflecting on the moment. There are certain songs that I hear that
reflection
immediately
that
take
takes
me
us
back
go
to
back. Yes,
the quad in high school. And if I don't
Absolutely.
let myself do that, then I miss it, right? And so just, naming some of the things that allow us to be influenced by the algorithm in ways that we feel hijacked. You spoke about earlier feeling violated or it feels intrusive, right? So if we want to be mindful of that, we want to return back to our inner compass. So I want to provide a couple of just tools, right? The first thing is ask why before you buy. I shared the shopping story with you. Am I buying this because I really want it, or am I just swept up in the excitement of being in New York and it's on sale and things are going?
Absolutely.
So first thing is ask why before you buy. When they push those ads to you and they tell you to get the things, ask why. The second thing is digital detoxes and no phone zones. Creating space away
really
from
important.
your devices
That's
so
really
that
important.
you're not constant, so that
Yes.
everything that you're
Yes.
thinking about and doing isn't.
You can give yourself a rest.
You give
I
yourself
think, right?
space, right? Because if you're
Space.
constantly picking it up, every time you have a thought, you're like, ooh, make it a note.
And
do
then
this thing.
it's a habit.
It's just there. You don't have the space.
Yes.
And it's more difficult to know the difference between what's the algorithm and what's you when you're constantly interfacing with your devices. So creating that. And then finally, building in spaces that turn your focus inward, building in practices, checking in with your thoughts,
That
checking
allows
in
me
with
to
your
go
breath,
into myself.
checking in with your bodily sensations.
What's going on?
Right?
I love
So,
that. I love that.
give us this
Very
week's
nice, practical.
rooted reflection. Thank you.
You're welcome, Dr. Joy. You know what? You're just so impressive.
Oh, well,
it's
I
just so great to be here. So let me think. The rooted reflection for today. How about a algorithm audit? Okay. And what I mean by that is if we were to track our last, let's say 10 online recommendations, right? From our socials, from the tubes, from shopping, right?
Right.
Then ask ourselves, which one of these choices truly reflects me?
Yeah.
Which one of the things am I interested in? What brought me here?
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Right?
That's
What
good.
brought me here?
Yeah.
Right? And separating that from everything else that might be the influence of the algorithm. And the reason why it's important, folks, to separate those things out is because, as Dr. Joy has mentioned and we've spoken about earlier, having agency in our choices, agency means to what degree am I making the choice for myself?
That's right.
Right? It's not, listen, consuming is not necessarily inherently a problem on its own. Participating in these online spaces and with these algorithms and these AI tools is not inherently bad on its own.
Right.
But when I am doing it, am I doing it in a conscious way?
Yep.
Am I doing it in a present way?
Yep.
And am I making an active choice to click? Right?
That's good.
That's good.
That's good. So do your algorithm audit.
Algorithm
Check
audit,
out
y'all.
the ads that are coming your way, the content that's being pushed
10
to
of
you.
them.
If it'll ask you, am I interested in this? Tell them no if you're not.
Sometimes no is okay.
Sometimes, a lot of times, I'll be telling the thing, don't show me this no more. Okay? And so until we meet again, take this with you. Say this to yourself. I make decisions that reflect my truth. Hold on to that. Hold on to that to the next time we see you, and say that to yourself before you make your next move. Until next time.
Until next time. Bye, y'all.